Hello everyone, my name is Mikeda Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist and Queen Lioness. And in case you don't know me, I'm a strength and conditioning coach with a background in exercise and sports science. I'm also a sports nutritionist. I've been doing that for like 15 years now. And I'm also a sacred sexual educator and a doula and a dancer, specializing in dances of the African diaspora. And I'm not going to get too in-depth about what a sacred sexual educator is. I had a previous series of videos on that, and I'll eventually get back to doing that again. But to make a very brief description of it, sacred sexuality is the art and the science of cultivating sexual energy and channeling it and moving it around for healing purposes and spiritual purposes, okay? And also, like, to just bring it into like the realm of sexuality education, because I've been involved in sexuality education since I was in high school. I had a video about that too on my old YouTube page. I worked for an organization called NARAL, New York, the National Abortion Rights Action League, and I did peer education, going around the city talking to my peers about their ideas about sexuality. We weren't talking about like STDs and like all of that. We were having conversations with our peers about their ideas and feelings about a variety of topics around just sexuality in general. And so there's a lot that goes into like what I consider to be a sacred sexual educator, and like I said, I'll do a video on that later. But a lot of people know me also from my sensual strength training class that I've been teaching for the past 9 years, which is for women, and I have videos on my YouTube pages about that, so I won't get into that. But I will say that I do have a male version of that. I actually started working with men first. I don't speak about my work with men that much. So I speak about the women more, and you know, part of that is also because women are a lot more class-oriented and a lot of times more serious. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't have flaky women and annoying female clients or people that are lazy. But with men, a lot of times, it's like, you know, just regular, like, personal training, like, you know, guys are like, I want to train with you, and they really just are just saying that to start a conversation. So, you know, getting people who are serious, I don't talk about my work with men that much, but what I've started to see is that, you know, a lot of the men really desire and need the information as well. I have a video called The Importance of Testicle Massage, the importance of phallus love, testicle massage, and sperm power. It's on my YouTube page. And when that was posted on my previous YouTube page, it was 100,000 views, or over 100,000 views, and it had more views than any of my other videos, which also told me that men really want this information. And even now, I reposted it on my new page, and there's still lots of, one of the highest viewed videos. And I know that when I taught my class in Costa Rica back in 2010, I had men in my class who were dealing with different issues, but they weren't going to talk about that in front of a room full of men. Whereas, like, when I teach classes for women, women will talk about our traumatic births and fibroids and the cyst in our ovaries and, you know, miscarriages and fertility issues and C-sections and fibroids, whatever else that, you know, women are dealing with. We talk about that in women that we just met today, in front of women that we just met today a lot of times. And that's like kind of the nature of women. We want to share, and actually you learn a lot from that. But I've learned that men are not like that. Even with fitness, like a lot of times you don't see men go to exercise classes like you see women do that. So definitely when it comes to talking about sexual issues that men may have, because men also have sexual issues that they may need to strengthen and imbalances or problems they're working through, they're not going to talk about that in a room full of men. Okay, and you go to a doctor, and what does the doctor do? You know, they give you medication, and actually some of the medications are what's causing some problems. You know, I actually started working with men first because way back in like 2004, I had a couple of male personal training clients. I mean, when I train people, I do very thorough evaluations. Like, I ask them a million questions about lifestyle habits, eating habits now and in the past, like allergies, medications, surgeries, like a bunch of questions. And then I do a physical evaluation. And then as a trainer, you work with people over time, and personal training becomes personal. People do talk to you a lot about things that they don't talk to their doctor about, because when you go to the doctor's office, it's like 10 minutes. They don't really have time to talk to you. You know, they're rushing you in and out. They don't spend the time, and then you don't keep seeing the doctor over time. So as a trainer, you keep, you give people exercises, and you keep seeing them a couple times a week, week after week, month after month. And you are seeing their progress, what works, what doesn't work. And a lot of times people start sharing things with you, because sometimes they don't think of those things like in the first evaluation or the first meeting, but people have a lot of things, and you can ask any trainer, where you evaluate someone and there's things that they don't tell you, and then like a month later they're telling you some major important stuff that, you're like, wow, but it's like a lot of people aren't that connected to their body, and there's so many other things in their mind. So this is just something that I've learned as a trainer. So back in like 2004, I had 2 male clients that had erection problems, and they started talking to me about it because I guess they didn't know who to talk to. So I started doing research because I wanted to help them. Like I've had clients with all kinds of like physical problems, physiological, autoimmune, genetic issues, structural issues. And I started doing research to help them, and that's when I started, I came across Taoist stuff first, and I started studying Taoist exercises for men, strengthening muscles of the pelvic floor that support the sexual organs, and breathing techniques of learning how to channel this energy, and meditations. And in my mind, I've always felt half male, half female. Like I'm definitely a woman, but I feel like I can go back and forth. I mean, I don't have a penis, so it's like I'm not in a man's body, so I can't completely understand what it is to be a man. But I do feel like I understand better than most women. And the men that have worked with me have always said that. They were kind of surprised at how much I was able to understand them being a woman. But so I started studying that first and teaching men first. And then somewhere in 2005, I found out about yoni eggs. And I started working with yoni eggs in 2005. I started teaching women in 2007. Now, you can go look at my sensual strength training videos, but for men also have exercises, okay? You guys also have exercises to strengthen the muscles that support your sexual organs and your pelvic floor. Also, stronger muscles mean stronger orgasms, okay? Also, having control, the same way that men can feel it when we pulsate our vaginal muscles, and men can feel that vibration. Women, we can feel it too when you guys pulsate your muscles. And so being conscious and present, opening up your channels, understanding how to absorb orgasmic energy from yourself, or from your partner, learning exercises to have control, ejaculation control, so that you're just not, wasting your life force. Even though I'm not someone that's, some people are into extreme ejaculation control. Like there are men who haven't ejaculated in 10 years and 5 years. Like to me, that's not healthy, but that's another conversation. But understanding like the male practice, and again, you can look at my other video about this, but for women, it's about us increasing our orgasmic potential, having more intense orgasms more frequently, being wetter and more open. For men, it's about being able to deal with very intense stimulus and not lose it, okay? Because some men get offended when I say this, but men are easy, like men all over the world are easy. You guys are, women, we're the complex ones for no reason. And sometimes like that annoys me about women, because women can be too complicated and we hold ourselves back with that shit sometimes. But men are super duper easy and easy to distract. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the male sacred sexual practice is about being able to be in the midst of intense stimulation, whether it be visual, whether it be, what you're smelling, olfactory, I guess, what your scent, vision, tasting, feeling. If you could think of the most intense of all of those, for the man to be able to maintain his focus, channel that sexual energy, because that sexual energy is healing energy, and store it and maintain an erection over that time. And that is what helps men to also age gracefully, because sexual energy and spiritual energy are of the same continuum, and that's what I talked about in my Sacred Sexual series, which I will eventually redo. But sexual energy and spiritual energy are the same continuum, and it's important for men and women to cultivate that energy. And even if you don't want to do it for spiritual purposes, even if you don't care about that, even if it's just to be a better lover, but you know, being able to maintain erection as you age is a very good sign of health, though, like circulation. So, okay, so going back into the Kundalini strength training, it's like, you know, men, as you age, your biggest thing is decreasing testosterone. And so I teach men also strength training exercises for the entire body. And most of the men that I've seen in the gym, in every freaking city and state and gym I go to, they have bad lifting technique. Even men with really big muscles, a lot of times the lifting technique is horrible. And I know if I ask them if they've ever been injured, they either have injured their knees or their shoulders lifting, or their back, or if they haven't, it's only a matter of time, okay? A lot of men lift awful technique. So I teach men also how to strengthen muscles in the back, the chest, the arms, you know, the whole entire body with weight resistance, you know, with the proper lifting techniques, and learning the proper progressions for that, just like I teach women, so you understand how to continue on your own, when to change the weight, when to, you know, go up and go down or whatever. And that increases your testosterone. In men and women, strength training increases testosterone, and testosterone increases sex drive, okay? And the more muscle you have, the more testosterone that your body makes. So as a man, the more, you know, building muscle as you age, you don't want to do things that are going to make you lose muscle, like jogging for miles. You want to do things that's going to make you build muscle to keep your bones strong, your testosterone levels up, okay? Also, that's going to increase your circulation, and, you know, the circulation is very important for erection. Also, the dancing as well. You know, in Caribbean countries and African countries, and in this country, in North America, black men and, you know, men dance too. A lot of times the women are the ones that are on display because we are the more beautiful ones to look at, you know. I mean, men can be great and gorgeous, but, you know, when it comes to like pretty, you know, women, we got that on lock. So a lot of times the women are the ones that are like really on display, but the men dance too, okay? And the men move their hips too. And so it's important too for men moving your hips, because that also activates that Kundalini energy and moves it. And also it during penetration, you're getting different angles and you're stirring. Think of stirring. It's like stirring up the energy, okay? And most of our blood supply and our major arteries and stuff run through our hips. So moving the hips is good for all of that, okay? And then we have the exercises for the pelvic floor and the muscles that support your testicles and your penis. And those exercises are good for also working with herbs too. There's certain herbs in nutrition. That's the other thing. So combining that, herbs that help increase circulation of blood to your genitals, and that help with hormonal balance, and nutrition, which you know, you have to have enough cholesterol, because testosterone is made from cholesterol, and muscle building foods, which you can check my nutrition videos, but that's the other part. And then meditations to help men open up their inner channels. We all have them, men and women. And, you know, I don't really teach couples classes because I feel like it's so important for people to do the work on themselves first. Like, before you start doing couples work, you yourself need to understand how to strengthen your muscles, start working on that, opening your channels, before you start cultivating with somebody else. So I'm not big on couples classes. I'm big on get yourself right first. And there's similarities between what the men and women do, but there are some differences. And so the Kundalini strength training class is funny that I did in Costa Rica. The men did love it, but it was kind of awkward, like, you know, me as a woman just talking to a group of guys. And guys are just different in how we learn and how they learn, especially with topics like that. So I just wanted to just say that, you know, women, we're not the only ones that have exercises to help, you know, open up our channels and increase the strength of our muscles. The other thing with men and women, when you increase the strength of the muscles that support your sexual organs, it makes your orgasms more intense as well. And think of those cosmic snakes, you know, on the medical symbol. Every country has those snakes that go up the pole, and it has the bird wings on top, which are ancient symbols of the bird and snake goddesses, which existed in every continent. You know, that serpent energy being the goddess, being connected and seeing the underworld, and then those bird wings being the birds which inform the goddess, and they see from above, okay? So enlightenment, sexual energy, the Taoists, the ancient Chinese sect spent thousands of years researching the effects of various sexual practices and its effect on our health and our spirit.